Do not trust Google reviews when you're getting a tattoo. This is a big mistake, you guys. I've talked about it in the past episodes, and this episode, we head out all the way to Germany where I found a great example of why you shouldn't. So, stick around for this one. Hello, welcome to the show. This is HackHunter, where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists in your cities. And in this episode, we head way out to Erlangen, Germany, where we found a 5-star rated studio that definitely does not have 5-star rated work. So stick around for the work of Pascal Kohler, aka The Painmaker. You can find him working at The Painmaker Tattoos and Piercings. There they are on Instagram, The Painmaker_tattoo studio if you want to check them out. Always do your own research, guys. Make up your own mind. But let me show you what I found. Wow, we are starting off with this one real strong. Now, let me zoom in on this one because I think in a lot of his work, it looked okay from a distance, right? But then I zoom in here, you can see how stringy and weird that hair looks. You can see the client's hair still on there, so he definitely did not prep the skin very well ahead of time. But you see how red and irritated all these areas are? Look at all this irritated skin up in her face. That is definitely not going to heal the way that he's expecting it to heal. It's just going to be beat up, irritated skin. And so I guess he's kind of living up to his name, The Painmaker. But also in the background, look at these jacked up buildings. No small detail in there at all. He just kind of scratched them in. In fact, you can see each individual needle streak from where he just scratched them in with his shader. Wasn't even attempting to do some nice detail with his liner. Oh my gosh, and it just got worse and worse the more I went. Look at how much blood and irritation is all over this tattoo. I'm not even sure why artists, I mean, we see this all the time, but I don't know why artists would even post something without giving it a few minutes to relax and kind of let the skin ease a little bit. But in this case, I think he's just damaging the skin to the point where he'd probably have to wait a good half hour for it to actually be calmed down to the point where you could take a decent picture without any blood in it. But man, I zoom in here and you can see how kind of jacked up this line work is. See how some of these lines are thicker than others, some are thinner. That means he's just pressing hard in some of these areas, going a little too deep in some areas and then a little too shallow in other areas. And especially in an area right here, the bend of the arm, very, very delicate skin. Any artist worth their salt should know this. After many years of experience, they should know those delicate areas in the body and know how to compensate for them so you don't end up with a bloody mess in the end. Here's one that's just, oh my god, I don't even want to get into that one. Now, I came across this wolf, and I was like, at first, this isn't so bad. Maybe I'm kind of harshly judging the guy. But then I zoom in, and I look, a couple things he did weird. This sort of stipple shading that he also mixed with regular shading. I'm not sure why he did that. The stipple shading is really kind of lackluster. You could tell it's not something that he probably is great at or excels at. But then the same thing, look, there's all this bloody mess all over the tattoo. And I zoom in, and I can see right there on the white, where he wanted to do white in that highlight of the eye, there's bleeding, and then on the nose here, too. So I'm guessing a lot of this blood we're seeing is the aftermath of him attempting to apply white and just not knowing how to do it very well. Also, you can see his color work, the blue in the eye there. It should be a lot more cleaner and more vibrant looking, but usually when the skin's kind of irritated and overworked, it's hard for those colors to look vibrant in the end. And so that's definitely a red flag you guys can look for when you're looking for your next tattoo artist. Now, here's another example of a blue-eyed wolf. This one, again, there's not much detail in it. He kind of just did a simple job of shading, but it doesn't look horrible until I get to the other back end part of it. This is the wolf right here, and what the hell is this? What is going on? It looks so specific, like he was doing something specific, but it just looks like a nightmare. I have no idea what that is, and man, that is the worst of the worst red flags. And a lot of his color work, here's some examples of his, quote, watercolor work, but this is just dashes of color randomly placed in areas. This is not watercolor at all. This is just random blotchy color. I zoom in on the black work, and you can see how very not saturated well that is, and kind of patchy in areas, and I saw that in a lot of his black work. You can just see it is not solid black. And so again, when you're looking for an artist, you gotta zoom in on areas, make sure that their black is coming up to the line, make sure their black is solid black all around. It doesn't have patches where it's lighter, patches where it's darker. Here's another random watercolor one in case you thought that was a one-off. Nope. And here's another one right off their Google business listing, another quote-unquote watercolor design, but man, just a little too haggard for me. Just dodgy, scratchy color randomly placed in there, not planned out at all. And I saw a lot of inconsistencies with his line work, and I'm going to show you here. Look at the snake scales. You can see how some of them are really bold lines, some of them are thin, light gray lines. This just means he can't control his depth, okay? And this is an artist that's been tattooing many, many years now. He owns his own studio. He should be much, much better than this. But also, look at the snake scales, how he actually tried to do the shape of scales here, but then just said, fuck it, I'm just going to do a crisscross pattern here. How lazy is that? You ever seen a snake like that with a checkerboard on their back? No, that is the lazy, quick way to do some snake scales, and I see it a lot. It's one of my pet peeves when artists just kind of skimp out like that, but I've never seen one where an artist started off attempting to do it well and then just gave up halfway. That's just terrible, terrible stuff. Here's some more snakes that are just goofy looking. And again, the white work, not that great. You can tell he has a hard time with that, hard time with keeping consistent lines. You gotta zoom in on this stuff because, man, guys, when you see a studio that has a 5-star rating, it has 112 reviews, and so anybody that lives around there is gonna look at this and go, oh, this is the spot. This is where everyone's going. And you're gonna read those reviews and you're gonna see a bunch of people saying real positive stuff. But at the end of the day, they are not professionals. Their artwork was something that they were happy with, but for you, you got to judge the artist's artwork. You got to dig in deep, zoom in, and really judge, is it consistent? Does it look like they know what they're doing? Or is this just a bunch of kind of copy, paste stuff off Google? Or are they creating custom designs? You got to really look for this stuff when you choose your tattoo artist, or you're going to end up with some of these. So obviously, Pascal Collier from the Painmaker ends up on our hack list. Definitely, that's an easy one for me, guys. But let me know what you think of his artwork down in the comments below. Otherwise, here's some more of his stuff if you want to see a little bit more of it. But stick around for part number 2. We'll find you guys a great artist out there in Germany that we could recommend. Here we go. Bye-bye.